Yeah, I abide by the law. That doesn't mean that I can't think some laws are bad.
Okay, and so Trump can't think some laws are bad?
Trump can think some laws are bad, but when he thinks the laws that are bad are the ones that are guaranteed through the Constitution, then I think you should probably just move to a different country if you don't like the founding document of it. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Rinyald. And if you disagree with anything in the video, make sure you join the Discord and we can have a chat sometime. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Just hanging out.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I saw you fuming in the comments a little bit. I have a feeling we disagree on quite a bit.
Yeah. I actually do agree with you on one thing, though. I think political violence is horrible, and no one should get killed for their own beliefs.
Mhm.
But I do think it's unfair to say that, if you support Trump, you're stupid or a liar, because I think there's also some people who just didn't agree with Kamala, and because of that, they just voted for Trump, because he was the only other option.
Yeah, sure. I see no world where it's a more reasonable decision to vote for Donald Trump over Kamala Harris, no matter what your predispositions are. I think from about any worldview, I would justify voting for Kamala Harris over Donald Trump, and I think it's unreasonable to vote for somebody like Donald Trump to lead the government.
Okay, why do you think Kamala is better than Trump?
Because at the very, very, very low baseline, Kamala Harris never made any indication that she would go against like the constitutional order. It's an incredibly low bar, but Donald Trump still manages to fall under it every time. When it comes to attacking like fundamental rights to judicial review, fundamental rights like your right to vote, fundamental rights like due process rights, fundamental rights like freedom of speech. We didn't see any clear indication that Kamala Harris would have taken any action against that, whereas we saw clear indications that Donald Trump would have taken action against it, and he has, and now it's been further confirmed throughout his term that he intends to keep doing it. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I just don't think Donald Trump is a good leader. I think he's incredibly incoherent. I think he's anti-intellectual. I think he rejects a lot of science that he finds, inconvenient, which probably isn't good. And he's just incredibly divisive. He's not good at bringing people together. Whereas Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, because we can only really judge Kamala Harris's policymaking abilities based off of what happened throughout the Biden administration and maybe some things as IG. It seems like she was way better at talking to people. It seems like her rhetoric was much more unifying than Donald Trump's. I don't think we ever got a quote from Kamala Harris saying that, like, I hate my opponents. I'm like a person that just died. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot more that we can go into as well.
Okay, so I'm assuming by due process you're talking about the mass deportation, or is that what you're talking about?
So all of the due process rights that I would be referencing are immigrant populations, but it's not necessarily all illegal immigrants, and it's not every single person who is subject to deportation.
Okay, so I have a question for you. How do you think that benefit our judiciary system if we had every single immigrant who was going to get deported put on trial?
So the due process rights of, for instance, like the alien enemies class action, didn't even necessitate a judicial hearing. That wasn't even necessitated. The incredibly thin due process rights that were required under the Alien Enemies Act, Donald Trump still didn't even cross that bar. So while I think even if it was necessitated that if somebody's guaranteed a jury trial, they should be afforded the jury trial. If somebody's afforded a bench trial, they should be afforded the bench trial. But in this case, they weren't even afforded a bench trial. Literally, all they were afforded was a chance to challenge their designation as an alien enemy, and Donald Trump didn't even meet that.
So, you didn't necessarily answer the question, but I see your point of everyone should get a fair trial. But it's also unreasonable seeing how we have millions of people being deported.
Well, in this case, I'm saying they wouldn't even need a trial. They would just need any ability to challenge their deportability under the Alien Enemies Act. And the Trump administration, DHS, whoever, did not even fulfill that need, and it was litigated twice by SCOTUS that they didn't fulfill that need.
Well, you shouldn't need that need if you came here legally. Like,
Well,
if you
you
came here
you
legally,
absolutely it,
you have a green card.
it's an
Bro, you have a green
it's an
card.
incredibly fundamental thing to be able to challenge your deportation.
You're
That's
right, but you already broke the law.
sure, but how do they know that you are who you are if you're not able to challenge your deportation, right?
Do you not have a green card? Do you
Green,
not have
green card
paperwork?
status is irrelevant here.
Oh, so green cards don't matter? Okay, cool.
No, it's
So you
just
don't have any
irrelevant to the due
paperwork
process
saying.
claim that I'm making.
Okay, but don't you have? Okay, so I don't think the ICE is just going on the street saying you're Mexican and arresting you. No, they ask you for
No, they're saying
papers
you're
and stuff like
Mexican and
that.
they're detaining you, right? And then
Yes,
afterwards,
and
they're
then
going
after
to,
they show,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah, but the
yes.
problem is, so under the Alien Enemies Act, what process you are afforded by law is just the ability to say, hey, I'm not either 14, I'm not a Venezuelan, I'm not a part of Tren de Aragua, and have the ability to challenge any designation by the government that you are a part of that group. And basically what happened instead is Donald Trump rounded a bunch of Venezuelans onto a plane. They said, hey, can I talk to a lawyer? And then the Trump administration said, yeah, sure. And then they flew him out to Venezuela before they ever got the chance to talk to a lawyer.
Okay, first of all, it wasn't directly the Trump administration. Second of all, you're bringing
It
out
was
one
directly
claim
the
that,
Trump administration. It was DHS.
okay, fair enough. But still, it wasn't. You're bringing out one case out of millions of people. Like you're
Well,
bringing
I'm talking
out
about one case of 200 people that were deported
one
under
case of
the Alien
200 out of
Enemies
how many
Act, but I can
people?
bring up more violations of due process if you want. But like a case like that where you're rounding up people saying, yeah, you're going to be able to talk to a lawyer, and then you don't let them talk to a lawyer. How is that
How
not
do you
like
know
a
that?
malicious violation of their due process rights?
But how do you know they didn't talk to a lawyer? How do you
It
know
was
this?
litigated in their court case.
So they had a court case without a lawyer. Explain how that works.
The only reason that they were able to file is because the plane broke down.
So they filed a court case without a lawyer.
Correct. While they were in the okay. What happened was there was a class of I think 300 people, and there were 3 planes that were going to be shipped off to El Salvador, right? So the first plane takes off, sends I think 100 people to El Salvador, right? And then there's a hearing on a temporary restraining order to prevent these deportations. And while that hearing is going on, a second plane goes off, litigating whether or not they should pause the deportation of these people. Second plane goes off. All right. The third plane breaks down. And that's what gives one of the people the ability to somehow get, I don't even know how this worked, reach out to a lawyer and file a claim for a class action.
So they did file. So they did get a lawyer, first of all. Second of all,
Well, no. Well, not before their deportation, right? So 2 planes had already taken off, and the third plane was going to take off before this person could reach out if the plane didn't break down. So this was begrudging. This was it was a mistake by the Trump administration to let these people talk to a lawyer. That was not in the plan. They were planning on getting them out as quickly as possible. And that's why SCOTUS agreed with me that it was a violation of their due process rights.
Okay, but we can't have millions of people all get due process. That's not how it's going to work. You're going to bring our
Then you
entire
need to
legal
get
system to a halt.
then you need to
It's
get
not possible.
you need to get a constitutional amendment then. You need to get rid of the 14th Amendment, but I don't think anybody wants to do that.
Okay, well, there's only one slight problem with that. We can't. First of all, why are we protecting illegal people under our laws? They aren't even citizens. Why are they protected?
Because I told you exactly why. Because it's an incredibly important thing to be able to challenge your deportation, and that right is given to you through the 14th Amendment.
Okay, but explain to me how you're going to get every single one of these people due process. Because under your administration, we simply just have people enter the country and we ignore them, which leads to rapists entering and a lot of other
you can do
horrible people.
deportations while giving people the chance to challenge those deportations, right?
Okay, name one Democrat that's done that.
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. Okay,
Yeah.
so Joe Biden let in over 8 million illegal immigrants.
Do you think he
In
wasn't
a 4
deporting
years.
people?
I mean, was he really deporting people compared to the amount of
Yes,
people?
yes,
who
he
were
was.
coming in?
He was deporting people.
many
Yes,
people did he
Obama
deport?
also was deporting people too.
Oh,
Obama, I'm pretty sure deported more people.
than Trump, but for some reason everyone's happy with Obama but mad at Trump.
Wait, so you asked for a Democrat who's doing deportations, Barack Obama?
Okay, but I still asked you. Yeah, okay. I still asked you. How was Biden doing on that? Because that also does come up to Kamala Harris, correct? I mean, she was the vice
In a way, I
president.
guess.
Yeah.
I
mean, not fully, but still, she has some sort of power over that.
So, I mean, again, I'm going to reject the numbers that you're going to give me because I think they were wildly overstated by Title 42 and Remain in Mexico. But regardless, I mean, like, it seems like there was a problem with too many people coming in. It seems like Joe Biden was trying to pursue legislative fixes instead of illegal invocations of emergency power like Donald Trump. He was very close to securing a deal in 2023. And then Donald Trump was calling Congress people to make sure that bill didn't pass because it'd be a good election issue. So, I mean, insofar as Joe Biden took any amount of long-term action on the border, he did better than Donald Trump, right? Because Donald Trump doesn't want a bill. He just wants to rob them of their due process rights to get them out as quickly as possible.
Okay, we're just circling around to the same thing. So can we just move on to something else?
I, yeah, we can, I guess.
Okay. What is your stance on abortion?
My stance on abortion, I think it's probably fine to have abortions.
Okay, and how is that fundamental to American rights? Like, explain that.
I don't think it is fundamental to American rights.
Well, it's a human right, correct? And that's
No,
part of the.
I don't think a right to abortion is a right to is a human right per se. I think in a way, I guess you have a right to like. I don't think the government should be making rules on things for no good reason. So I guess if you want to spin that as a human right, I guess. But no, I don't think like you have a necessary human right to abortion. I just think there's no reason to make it illegal
So why would we not make it illegal when it's the murder of millions of babies every year?
because I don't think that fetuses deserve moral consideration.
So a fetus isn't a child?
A child, no, well, no, it wouldn't be
It's
regardless.
an
There's a reason
infant.
you call it a fetus and not a child, right? But um
Well,
uh,
okay, what? Okay, what? Okay, so do you believe in science?
yep.
Okay, so please Google when does a new life start according to science? Because I'll tell you when,
Yeah,
at conception, because that's when new child DNA is made.
yeah,
So if a
sure.
new
The
child DNA is
problem
made, that's a different person.
sure, the problem isn't when life begins. The problem is when valuable life begins. So like we can say
Oh,
that an ant is alive, but it's not necessarily a problem to stamp on an
it's not a
ant,
human.
right?
It doesn't get
You're
human
not a
rights. That's
genocidal
different. You're
maniac, right?
comparing an insect to a human life.
Yeah, I'm saying that a fetus isn't valuable life. I
It's
don't
not a
see the
fetus.
reason to
It's a,
value
it's a
it.
human. You literally just said it's a human. You said
I'm
that. You
saying it's a
believe in
life.
science.
Yeah, sure. I'm saying it's a
Okay, so that makes
life.
it a
Yeah.
human, right? So does it not deserve human rights?
It has human cells, sure, again, you're not giving me a reason why I should really care about this fetus prior to any form of like consciousness
Okay.
developing.
Well, here's a fun fact for you. So the thing that one dude did in Germany back then, it
Yep.
killed 1 million people a year. The
Mhm.
abortions killing over 20 million
Okay, you're
unborn
not giving me a
babies a
reason
year.
to care about life with no consciousness.
What do you mean life with no consciousness? How do you know the person they're killing is gonna?
why should I care about a life that has no conception of the world or itself?
So are we gonna kill unconscious people now? Like if you're in a
Conscious people do
coma?
have a conception of
So if
themselves
you're
and
so
their
if you're in a
life.
coma, are we gonna kill you?
They do have a perception of themselves and their life.
Okay,
So
what if they were
no.
born into a coma?
They're born into a coma, they still yes, they still have that. Yeah.
Well, actually, you don't. Okay, well, you're just missing the whole point here.
No, I think you're missing the whole point here. I'm saying
Okay, so you're saying
specific
some
ground
humans
on
don't
which we
deserve human
give
rights, but
I,
illegal
I
immigrants deserve rights. That's what you're saying.
um I'm saying
That's
that people with
literally what you
consciousness
said.
deserve human rights. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, fun fact. Fun fact. Kids don't gain consciousness until they're around 3 or 2. So are we also gonna kill
That's
1-year-olds now?
that's absolutely not true.
No. You can Google
No,
that.
that's
You can
not
Google
true.
that. Go Google it. Go Google it.
I don't know what you think consciousness means. So the line that I draw, okay, because I can tell you're not actually here to have a conversation. You're trying to get owns on me like I've never heard these questions before, okay? So the part of your brain that develops that's responsible for deploying consciousness to forms in utero around the 24th week. Okay? So I draw the line at that 24th week because after that line, we run too high a risk of ending a conscious being's life. So prior to the parts of the brain responsible for deploying consciousness, I don't see a reason to value that life because it has no conception of itself or the world around it. So, like, what is the harm in it? And then past that point, well, the harm in it is that we're potentially ending a conscious life. So we shouldn't end that life because it has consciousness. It has an understanding of the world and itself, or it has the ability to deploy the understanding.
So you agree it's a human, but it doesn't deserve rights because it's not conscious and doesn't know anything
I
about.
agree that it's human life, yeah, but I see no reason to value it prior to the parts of the brain
So
developing that are responsible for consciousness.
so why does a this you make no sense because how are you gonna call it a
It's
human and not give it human rights? That doesn't make sense.
because when you say human, you're presupposing like
You called it
things
a
that you
human. You said
associate
you
with
believe in
human.
science. It's an
Yeah,
infant.
sure, but
It's an unborn infant, which makes it a
you're
human.
asking for a scientific answer to a philosophical question. It's
It's
not the
not
same.
philosophical.
It
It's
it is
science.
philosophical. What you value is necessarily
If I shoot
philosophical.
a pregnant woman, I get charged with a double homicide.
Yeah, sure, that doesn't change anything. Now you're asking a
Yes, it
legal
does.
question in
Yes, it
response
does.
to a
Okay.
philosophical
Okay. And I
question.
said, should abortion be illegal? So it's actually really relevant.
Okay, I'd say that I don't necessarily see the reason to give a double homicide for that. Um,
Okay. Well, you guys love the law so much, and apparently Trump breaks it, so clearly you abide by the law since you're a perfect human being.
Yeah, I abide by the law. That doesn't mean that I can't think some laws are bad.
Okay, and so Trump can't think some laws are bad?
Trump can think some laws are bad, but when he thinks the laws that are bad are the ones that are guaranteed through the Constitution, then I think you should probably just move to a different country if you don't like the founding document of it.
You know what's interesting about America? The people who hate it won't leave.
Like Donald Trump, who hates the Constitution apparently,
Yeah,
who
Donald
just
Trump definitely
disagrees
hates
with all of the
America.
rights that are given to you through the Bill of Rights.
So when we had a better economy in 2016 to 2020, he must have really hated us.
Yeah, good pivot, buddy. Like if
What
you're
do you mean
saying
good
that
pivot? I
if
mean,
you're
look at
saying
your
that the
economy
laws
under
that
Biden.
if you're saying that like, oh, okay, isn't it okay for Donald Trump to disagree with some laws? Like, do you think it's good for him to disagree with laws like the First Amendment or like the
Well, you
14th
disagree
Amendment?
with laws, and I'm not here yelling at you.
Sure, I disagree with like state laws, right? That are inconsequential. He disagrees with like the founding document that started our country, right?
How
It's
so?
pretty
Give me
different.
some evidence of this.
Some evidence of what?
Him not agreeing with the Constitution, or him.
I mean, we already walked through the due process thing. I could walk you down the First Amendment too, but I have a feeling that it's going to be just as productive.
Yeah. Okay, so bring up another example then, because you mentioned at least 2 amendments that he has broken.
Yeah, the First Amendment.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah,
He broke. How? I'd love to hear this.
by trying to give people 1 year for burning the flag.
Okay. So burning the flag isn't necessarily freedom of speech. If you want to burn the
Is.
flag so badly, why don't you just leave?
Burning the flag is freedom of speech. It's already been litigated.
Okay, and
right?
if I burn a trans flag, that's hate speech though.
Nope, there's no hate speech laws
Actually,
in America.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
No, there's no hate
You are-
speech
you
laws
are
in
liberal.
America.
You know, it. Okay, so I'll get canceled on the internet for that. But if I burn an American flag,
Okay,
I
no
won't.
one's stopping
So
you from canceling. Donald Trump isn't talking about canceling someone on the internet. He's talking about putting them in jail
It's
for a
hate
year.
speech. It's considered hate speech.
Hate speech
Is it
isn't a
not?
legal concept. That's not. No, there's no legal hate speech in America.
Okay. So burning an American flag is not only a show of hatred, is not only showing hatred towards America, the country you live in.
Okay,
but
hate
also
speech isn't illegal.
hate speech isn't illegal.
Correct.
You're a liberal? Isn't your
Yeah.
entire culture canceling people?
No, I'm pretty sure the right has the monopoly on canceling people right now, considering
Well,
you know
who-
trying to the docs
Okay.
list of the people making
Okay, but
fun of
who-
Charlie
okay, but
Kirk. I think
which-
that's
which-
probably more canceling than us.
Okay,
but
yeah, but which party
regardless,
originally came up with
regardless,
that?
I'm talking
Which
about
party originally
again.
came
I
up with
understand
that?
we're mixing up different jurisdictions here. I'm talking about a legal question, right? So the First Amendment, there's no hate speech that contradicts the First Amendment. You have your First Amendment rights, and the First Amendment makes hate speech legal. So if Donald Trump is trying to criminalize hate speech, that's against the First Amendment.
Donald J. Trump stated his opinion on the matter, which he is entitled to. First of all, second of all, the
Well, he also signed an executive order, and he directed the people. Yeah,
The Supreme Court made the final call on that, dude.
yeah. Do you know what
Supreme
what was their final call?
It was some dude in Texas who burned the flag. I believe they said it was legal.
Yeah, sure. So when Donald Trump says that it's actually not legal and will put you in jail for a year, and he orders all of his law enforcement agents to arrest people for burning the flag and put them in jail for a year, that's against the First Amendment, right?
Okay, first of all, this never happened.
Wait, no, this did happen. But
To who?
before I show you that it did happen, you agree that it's illegal, right?
According to the Supreme Court, yes.
Okay. According to you, is it illegal?
I mean, I think burning the flag is really disrespectful, but I also think it's within your rights.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. It can be disrespectful. It's not illegal to be disrespectful.
This is
So-
true.
On Truth Social, Donald Trump tweets out or posts on to ICE, Border Patrol, law enforcement, and U.S. military. As per my August 25th, 2025 executive order, please be advised that from this point forward, anyone burning the American flag will be subject to 1 year in prison. You will be immediately arrested. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Oh wait, but that was in the middle of the ICE protests in LA, right? Or the ICE raids or whatever.
Yeah?
I was just wondering because I think that's why he made that. Okay.
Well, that doesn't
So,
matter. I mean, if you're trying to outlaw burning the flag, it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
absolutely. It's stupid, but I still think he's a better option than Kamala Harris. I mean, Kamala Harris.
So what we're talking about right now. So you said if you hate the country, then move, right? Donald Trump does hate the country. He hates the Constitution, right?
Country. Okay, no, but you can't say that because
He does. He hates the Constitution.
Okay, did he ever say that?
He actually justified
No,
terminating
no.
the Constitution. Funny you said
He
that.
didn't
but
justify
yeah.
terminating it. He
did.
simply said, "Hey, with the current state of LA, We cannot have people doing stupid stuff like this where they're not only imposing a risk to them and others around them because not only are they setting a fire in a public area, they are also putting risk to our agents who are working in the field. So it is not logical to just let them come out here burning flags.
So that was actually infinitely more coherent than what the melting pile of a president we have said. What Donald Trump said is that a massive fraud justifies the termination of the Constitution. He said that in 2022. So he did explicitly say about as close to "I hate the Constitution" as you could possibly get from a presidential candidate, right?
Okay, I'm not saying I fully support Trump. I never once said that. But I'm no. Okay. Chill. I'm still saying Trump is a
Yeah.
better leader than Kamala Harris.
So if I just don't understand, like, if we value the Constitution, I don't know why. So like the job of the president, okay, the job of the president, when he gets sworn into office, he takes an oath to uphold the Constitution. So my question is, like, if we value America, if we love this country, why would we put somebody in office that is going to like spit on their oath of office every morning, every time they wake up in the morning?
We put him in office because we looked at what Joe Biden did in 4 years, how he recovered from COVID, how he stutters.
His recovery from COVID was pretty good. Yeah, he had a really good recovery.
Actually, it wasn't. Prices have been going up significantly since 2021.
Yeah, what do you expect to happen after a fuck ton of stimulus spending? That was bipartisan, though.
Wait, so now we're going to justify Biden spending a lot of money?
Yeah, in response to recovering from a pandemic. Yeah.
Okay, so then why did the economy not go down after the pandemic? I mean, we're talking like 23. I mean, it was really over by like 22.
What do you think
like
the economy go down? The economy doesn't go down.
Well,
That's
not going down, but like prices going
like
down. Sorry, bad wording.
Because that's not how inflation works. Like if you're giving people stimulus, you know, that you're increasing the amount of money in the economy, that's inflationary, right? So it's going to raise prices because there's more money in circulation. So it devalues the currency.
So if he knew this was going to happen, why did he not have bills prepared for after the what was it called? Pandemic.
There's not a bill that you can really do to curb inflation that quickly.
So there's no possible.
Like why is inflation still rising under Donald Trump if you could just pass a bill to get rid of it?
Inflation's still rising under Donald Trump because we have this stupid thing called funding random countries across the world for their wars.
But like why wouldn't he just pass the no inflation bill?
Okay, buddy, it's not what I meant. Okay, well, no, because he actually has tried to do something and it has not worked out, but he has put in tariffs, which was supposed to uplift inflation.
Tariffs are inflationary.
The entire purpose of a tariff was to make things more made in America, which overall would cause inflation to go down because you don't have all these import taxes.
That doesn't cause inflation to go down. Like there's no world where adding an import tax is going to not be inflationary. That the whole point of them is to raise prices.
Okay, but do you agree that the idea was to lower inflation?
No.
So then what was the point of it?
To onshore domestic manufacturing. Well, actually, he gave a bunch of contradictory. He gave a bunch of contradictory points. So he said first it was to make a fuck ton of money for the federal government. Then he said it was to onshore domestic manufacturing. Then he said it was to negotiate trade deals.
Okay, but would you agree that the original idea of a tariff would be to potentially lower inflation?
No, they're necessarily inflation. There's no world where an import tax is not inflationary.
Okay, but no, because what it does is what it does is it forces people to make stuff in America, which overall would lower inflation.
No.
Yes, it would. On shipped goods, it absolutely would.
No, it wouldn't. Tariffs don't even lower domestic products. That's not even true. But like, why would you
lower the price?
If you're trying to? No, it wouldn't. But like, why would you try to curb inflation by adding new tax? Like what's
your great idea for inflation? What's your party's great idea?
I don't listen. I don't know super well.
Okay, you can look it up if you want. I'm genuinely wondering. I'm not trying
so
to. So
I know for a fact that you know what? Let's look it up. How do we generally lower inflation? Listen, I'm not a fucking supercomputer, all right? We're here to learn.
Yeah.
cutting government spending, increasing taxes to decrease aggregate demand,
So wouldn't be
and
putting in a
raise interest
tariff
rates.
increasing taxes?
Um, import taxes and income taxes would be different here.
Okay. Oh, I didn't hear you say income.
Okay.
I feel like that's interesting. Well, technically, when you think about it, the only way to truly stop inflation would be to stop printing money.
Yeah, sure, but I'd be like,
Yeah, we can't really do that.
can't really do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, is there
All right.
anything
Well,
else?
you have a good. No, you have a good day, man. It was just
All
cool
right.
to talk to you.
I love you, buddy.
Yeah, I love you too.
I'm not a monetary guy, all right? Somebody wants to come up and inform me about like what the master plan is to address inflation, we could talk about it, but
Hey,
Ron.
can you hear me?
Yeah, that was a ear blistering notification sound. But yeah, I can hear it.
Um, the last caller was totally right. Okay, there was a
No.
billionaire trying to buy votes in
No,
the
there
Wisconsin
wasn't.
election. Elon
I
Musk.
know there was the fucking Elon Musk thing. Yes, I know. But
And sorry.
Jesus Christ, Ron. All right, all the people in here, there's 52 of you, okay? My request box is fucking dry. It is completely empty, okay? So, and also I'm sorry, I'm gonna shame you guys, all right? My gift thing is pretty empty as well, all right? So pay me money because I'm awesome, all right? And if you can't pay me money, because that's fine. I understand that people don't have the money to kind of just throw around on TikTok. Follow the live creator, all right? Like the live, make sure it gets thrown out to people. Follow me on YouTube at Rinyald, where all these debates get posted. And if you're a Trump supporter, get your ass in the request box, okay? It's super easy.
Tariffs can be deflationary, but it's on the U.S. currency, not on the prices.
How would something be deflationary on currency but not prices?
Because the prices go up, but the number of dollars in circulation go down.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. I guess that makes sense.
So the best way to fight inflation is to tax the rich.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense.
Then there was another thing. Oh, you should say Trump hates the Second Amendment.
The Second Amendment argument is not as easy to make as the First and 14th, so I just don't bring it up. No, it's really
The
not.
National Guards are founded by the Second Amendment.
Yeah, I understand,
Every
but
state has a
the
National Guard
Insurrection
because
Act
the
isn't
Second
against the Second Amendment. So that's the problem, is that there is some level of statutory authority that allows Donald Trump to do it. So it gets a lot more hairy. Whereas there's not any statutory authority to allow for something like the deportation of Ozturk. There is no statutory authority to allow like what happened with the JGG class. Whereas there is some debatability about the National Guard stuff. I'm gonna read the Portland ruling probably tomorrow, so I guess we'll come back to it after that. But
I would make an argument that a state in rebellion is not a state. That you
sure,
lose
but I mean
state
that's
status if you're in rebellion.
that's not a legal argument used for the Insurrection Act, right? Like it says state. So
yeah, but yeah. Or that law is itself unconstitutional. Those are the two options.
I think any world where the Insurrection Act is ruled unconstitutional is probably it's too far off. I mean, like I don't believe that there's going to be a world where that's the case.